Your family is very important to you. They bring you so much joy, laughter, fun, smiles, and love. If an unfortunate event occurred in your family, are you certain that they will be financially covered? Stress no more. Call and receive your free consultation today. And let's protect your family together.
And it's gonna be big. It's gonna be big. It's gotta be big. Lord, let it be. Hey. My future is big. My destiny's big. My blessing is big. My promise is big. The new job will be big. My future is big. Lord, let it be big. And it's gonna be. Hey.
How my journey began. It's graduation time. Family is very important to me, including my puppies. The Marine Corps played a huge role in my life and allowed me to be ambitious, inspiring, a mentor, and achieve all of my goals. As a financial expert, I've received multiple awards, done various events as a guest speaker all over the U.S. with my platform of creating healthy financial habits, along with having my own business, all leading up to my show. Come along for the journey.
Hello, Gems, and welcome. For the month of July, I'll be highlighting different business owners in the health, fitness, and wellness industry. You are definitely going to want to take part of their journey and connect with them. Here are a few statistics on the dietitian and nutrition industry. There are roughly 98,000 dietitians in the U.S. About 90% are female, 3.8% are male, and about 5.6% have no reported ethnicity. Only 2% of dietitians are Black, so not a lot of Black dietitians in the U.S. The average dietitian salary ranges from $38,000 to $80,000 and up, depending on the location where you work, your clientele, and your services you provide, to name a few key factors. Here are a few differences between a dietitian and a nutritionist. In the U.S., dietitians are certified to treat clinical conditions, where nutritionists are not always certified. Dietitians can apply their expertise across a broad range of areas, such as hospitals, research institutions, universities, and sports teams. They may prescribe nutrition therapy to help treat or prevent acute and chronic illnesses. A nutritionist often cannot provide these services. In the U.S., some states don't regulate the term nutritionist and do not require a degree or credentials to practice or give advice under this term or title. You simply just need to have an interest in the field. Please be aware that taking advice from a novice nutritionist can be harmful to your health. Look for a nutritionist to be licensed as a CNS, which is a certified nutrition specialist, or as an RD, which is a registered dietitian. So for today's guest, she was born in Garland, Texas, which is a suburb of Dallas, Texas. Her favorite healthy meal to cook for herself is healthy tacos, of course, with plant-based products only. Her favorite cheat meal or snack, gotta love this girl, crab legs and chips, girl, y'all. I eat crab legs at least once a week, no joke. 3 words to describe her outlook on life are faith, hard work, and community. She currently resides in Garland, Texas. Gems, let's welcome Ernestine Jackson, registered dietitian, nutritionist, and owner and CEO of All Things Nutrition, to the show. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So you have an amazing story. Gems, her story is amazing. You're definitely going to want to hear this. So let's go ahead and get started. Tell us about how it all began back in Louisiana.
So I am the youngest of 9. Both of my parents were born in Louisiana. So they had half of us in Louisiana, and then they moved to Texas. Yes. And then they had the later half, which includes me. So I was born, as you stated, in Garland. I went to all of elementary, middle school, high school in Garland. And then I moved to Nacogdoches, Texas, which is a little country town in Texas, in East Texas. And that's where I did my undergrad, which is my bachelor's of science in food and nutrition.
So back to your family. So you have really, really deep Southern roots, came up in a kind of a poverty home, and you grew up as an athlete, but kind of tell us about how you had to lose weight for boxing, and then, the struggles with trying to stay smaller.
Okay, so back in the day and coming from such a large family, I say that my parents did their best to feed us, and it was more of an eat for survival. So what our food was or what it was made of, I don't want to say it didn't matter, but that wasn't a priority. It was getting the most for what we can afford to feed all 9 of these kids. So so with that being said, we ate things like hot dogs, noodles, fast food, the cheaper foods that aren't really much of quality. So that's kind of how I grew up, eating what I could eat. And again, with the mentality of eating for survival, really wasn't focused on portion control. You eat what you can eat, and but what was put before you. So with that in mind, that did lead to me being a chubbier child. And as far as being athletic, so I always participated in sports as early as I was able to, that in school. So volleyball, track, not the running portion. I threw shot put.
Right.
What the thicker girls did. Um, so I threw shot put. I played softball, volleyball, basketball. So always super involved in athletic. But as we know, with weight maintenance, weight loss, anything involving weight, it's your physical activity is only 20%. The biggest portion of it is your nutrition. So with that being said, even though I was really active, I still remained heavy. And I also had that mentality, oh, I'm active, I can eat whatever I want.
Right.
So about halfway through high school, it was my actually my going into my sophomore year, I decided to try another sport, which was boxing. And being a well-rounded athlete, you really adapt to kind of any sport. So I was really doing really well in boxing, and as we know, boxing is a weight-bearing sport. So my coaches were just like, "Hey, you're really great, but you're gonna have to lose weight. There's not many people your age at your weight. So in order for you to actually fight, you're gonna have to lose weight." So it was then that I started paying a bit more attention to how much I ate and what I ate. So it was kind of let me not eat chips, let me not eat drink soda, let me not eat this. So then as I started seeing how those smaller changes made an impact on my weight, that's when I started to get a bit more interested in what I actually ate. So not so much how much, but like, oh, this is carb, oh, this is a protein, this is fat. So that kind of sparked the interest, part of sparking the interest. And from there, I lost 100 pounds, which was really big. So I know you're probably like, well, dang, how much did you weigh?
No, stop.
But as a bigger adolescent, child, that was big, and I had lost a lot of weight, and I was able to compete in weight classes where within my age, other children were my age and weighed the same amount as I did.
Absolutely. So how did your mom's diagnosis play a role in knowing that you wanted to help people with weight loss journeys?
So literally that same year that I had gotten down really low, I'll probably say maybe like at my 75-pound mark, my mom was diagnosed with diabetes. So my mom, she's way, way smaller now. She wasn't even really heavy, what we would call heavy, but she was heavier than what she is now. And with that being said, she was diagnosed with diabetes, and the doctors just put her on medication, and that was it. So she did know, of course, they give you the general terms, eat better, cut back, but they don't really tell you what that means. So my mom knew that's what she needed to do. And she was like, well, you just lost 75 pounds. You live under my roof. Let's tackle this together. So I started doing research. I've always been like super nerdy in school. So I started doing research like, okay, I know my mom needs to lose weight, but again, I was at the point where I was dissecting exactly what was on my plate. So when I started doing that, I was able to find out the things that my mom needed to do, not only to lose weight, but to also help her better manage her diabetes. So we did it together. So I lost the remainder of my weight. She started losing weight. They removed her from her insulin shots. They took her down to one pill to half a pill a day for her diabetes medication. And now, I mean, my mom can count calories, count carbs. She's so like informed and educated on that topic. So from there, like to watch her transition. So it's one thing for it to have been me because I'm itself, but to see how everything that I was doing, how I was impacting somebody else, especially somebody that I love, I was like, wow, like food is big. Like I didn't know that. Like again, it was eat and survive. That's the only association that I had with food. And then once I saw the difference that it made in my life and my mom's life, I was like, wow, like if this was just from Google, if I really like invested time, um, practice this in school, imagine how many people's lives and the impact that I could make. And so that's those two events is what really, really got me into like, okay, I thought it was a nutritionist. I want to be a nutritionist. And then I was informed it was a registered dietitian. And I was 16 at the time. And since then, that's been my goal and I get the ground running.
Right. And then you went to college, graduated from Stephen S. Austin in Nacogdoches, Texas.
Stephen F. as in
Austin. Yeah,
yes.
Austin, and finished college in 3 years. I think that is amazing. You are on the fast track to this wonderful life with a degree in nutritionist, right?
Yes.
And Jims, I want to let you know she's first generation college grad. So yes, I always got a yes, girl. We're definitely gonna put that in there. We got to give a shout out for that. So where can you do a dietitian internship? So you graduated and then let them know, because this was an eye opener for me. I'm just like, you graduate and most people you're like, and then you go apply for a job. No. So here's where we're going to get into the story. So let them know where you can get the internship.
So you gave amazing statistics at the beginning of the show, the difference between a nutritionist and a registered dietitian. So technically at any point you can be termed a nutritionist, as you stated. So once you do have to have a bachelor's of science in food and nutrition, and it has to be from an accredited university. So that program has to be accredited from the Academy of Nutrition and Diet.
Right.
So once you complete your degree, you have to apply for an internship. So it's not like other programs where you can do your internship while you're in school, or you just call a doctor and like, hey, can I watch you? Yeah. No, you have to apply for an internship. And the acceptance rate is 50%. So, and the reason why the acceptance rate is 50% is due to a lack of dietitians to supervise you. So it's like a circle. Yeah. So it's 50% acceptance rate across the United States. You can do your internship through a school. You can do it combined with a master's degree, or you can do what they call distance internships, which is what I did. So you have to find your own preceptors, who are typically dietitians, who will allow you to practice, shadow, and follow them. So you have to have a preceptor in the clinical realm. So like she stated, those clinical conditions, diabetes, heart conditions, you have to do rotations there. You have to do your rotations in food service, and then rotations in community, which would be like WIC. And so with WIC, you can be hired as a nutritionist. Don't mean to do this, but as a nutritionist.
We get it now, yes.
Yeah, you can be hired as a nutritionist. And the idea is after you work for them for 2 years, you have the option to apply for their internship, in which they will keep your salary. Without WIC, it is an unpaid internship, and it is 1,200 hours. The application is long, excruciating. They factor in your GPA, your experience, volunteer experience, work history, if you have any, and they apply all of that into their determination. So you can be a superb student and still get rejected from the internship.
Right. So you hit a lot on there. So tell us how difficult it is to get into the internship, like the cost, like, because it's just not, when she told me about the cost and, they only accept certain type of money, I'm like, wait a minute, I can't do this. This is crazy. So tell us a little bit about that as well.
So the internship is, I tell people it's basically school all over again. So It's like, undergrad, this school, then grad school, or call it RD school. But so I personally paid $11,000 for my internship. So the internship is basically the cost of typically like a year of college tuition.
Right.
If you get accepted into an internship that comes combined with the master's, you get to use your financial aid because you're paying for school in addition. For me, so because I was rejected 3 to 4 times and I lose count, that's a whole I had went back to school, grad school, to get my master's to make me a better candidate for the internship. So because of that, I needed an internship that did not include school. So with that being said, I could not use FAFSA to pay for my internship. So it is very difficult to get accepted into the internship. As I stated, there's different things that they count. For me, being a first generation college kid, just being honest, my family wasn't financially prepared to take care of me during school. So I had to work during school, which took away from my volunteer experience, which took away from me being able to give back and be involved in other things that my peers were able to do. So that made it even more difficult to be a better candidate for an internship, regardless that I finished the program that my competitors finished in 4 to 5 years, even though I finished in 3, regardless of my GPA. So that made it very, very difficult. And then also with no guidance, I didn't know any other dietitians except for my classmates who finished before me. So I didn't have any guidance. There's really not any mentorships, especially in the Black community, for anyone to help. So it was kind of like every year I was just like, here's my application. Here's my application. So it's a very difficult process. Again, I applied 4 times, and it wasn't until the 4th time that I got accepted into my internship.
And I know you mentioned doing an internship. You worked alongside ICE or with the WIC program in El Paso. I just want to hit on this to let them know kind of how the cycle can work with you and how that just ICE and the population from there kind of then took away from your volunteer work.
Yes. So once I got rejected again from the internship, I was determined, every time I got rejected, I was just like, what can I do better this year? What can I do different? So with the idea that you can work for WIC and they pay you during your internship, I was like, let me get a job at WIC. So at the time, I got offered a job in Dalhart, which is kind of like how Garland is to Dallas, Dalhart is to El Paso.
Yeah.
To Amarillo. They're all the same. In that area, so to Amarillo. So I moved away, it was still in Texas, but it was 8 hours. So another one of the sacrifices that I did make, I moved out there, population 8,000, moved out there by myself to work for WIC. And what happened is the population for WIC, especially in that area, is typically low income migrant workers, immigrants, and that's who we serviced in that area, which is completely fine for WIC. So the government pays WIC, so WIC continues to run based on participants. So at this time, I can't quote you the year exactly, but this is when ICE was really hot out there doing crazy stuff and taking people back to their country. And a lot of the people that we were servicing there were scared because they felt like we were going to sell them out, or WIC was a part of the government. It is, but to a certain extent. So with that being said, our participation levels dropped drastically. And the director who kind of persuaded me to go out there and sold me the idea of getting the internship basically told me she couldn't guarantee me the internship anymore because of participation. So at that time, because I was only out there for one reason, I decided to move back home because I was like, oh no, internship, gotta go. Gotta go.
Absolutely. So how did you save up for grad school? Because this is a part that I like when I'm talking about budgeting and saving and roommates. So tell us about how you got through that.
So my first job straight out of college was in a manufacturing company. I worked for Kraft. So our degree is food, nutrition, and dietetics. So it's really like 3 components. There's a lot that you can do It does get a little difficult when you are wanting to work in a job that requires you to be a dietitian. But at the time, I was doing quality assurance on food. So that was my first job. I was like, hey, didn't get into an internship. Like I still have to work. So I got this job. It paid me really good. I'm married now, but I was single, no real bills, fresh out of college.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was a good job. I was able to travel, spend my money carelessly. But then it got to a point where I was like, okay, this is not what I want to do. I still want to become a dietitian.
Right.
So I was like, in order for me to be a better candidate for the internship again, I have to get a job that is more on the dietitian side. Quality assurance wasn't.
Right.
So at that time, I started saving. I was like, I need to save. So in my mind, I was like, okay, I can't afford. This is when I determined that I was going to go back to grad school. But in order to go to grad school and actually make good grades, I know that I couldn't work.
Right.
I could, but I remember the difficulties of undergrad working. So I was like, if I can make it to where I don't have to work during grad school, that would be ideal. I can get good grades, be a better candidate for the internship. That was how everything came back. So I started saving while I was working at Kraft. And then I know I needed roommates. So I live in Dallas. At this time, the rent was super expensive, but it's nothing compared to what it is now. So I was like, let me save. I moved out of my 1-bedroom and I got roommates. So 2 roommates, we got a 3-bedroom, 2-bath apartment. We ended up getting a income restricted apartment, which is cheaper than regular rent. So we got an income restricted apartment and we split our bills 3 ways. So I was able to take all the money that I had saved from working at Kraft. I was able to quit my job, get roommates to reduce my bills, and go to grad school full time.
Absolutely. Love, love, love those savings. So you finally got accepted into an internship. So what did you find out during this process that could have helped you months in advance with the rounds and everything? Because you hit on it before about not having like a mentor throughout the process. And this is what happens, not because you weren't great at what you did, you just didn't have a mentor. So tell us about how you find out about the rounds and what that meant for you and getting into the internship.
So everyone typically applies on first round. So that's when they get an influx of applicants. So it's a business behind it all. So after everyone gets accepted, the internships were like, hey, we had 10 spots, but we only filled 5, because another thing to consider is if I put, you match with who you put on your application. So even though they have openings, if enough people didn't select them, now they have extra spots made available. So for them to make their money and fill those spots, they opened up second rounds. I had no idea second rounds existed. So the past 3 times that I applied and didn't get in, I very much so could have gotten in on second round. Because realistically, when it comes to second rounds, not that they don't care who they accept, they're trying to make their money into those spots. Mm-hmm. So I could have gotten in, never knew about second round. The professors that I've had in the past, I know I didn't get accepted. They never mentioned second rounds to me, nothing. So the 4th time that I got applied, I technically didn't get accepted.
Right.
But then I got an email from one of the programs that I applied for, and they're like, second rounds are opening. And I was like, second rounds? What are second rounds? So I applied for second round for a distant internship, again, because at this time, I had already had my master's of science in nutrition at this point. So I applied for second round and I got accepted. Yes, finally got accepted. And when I did get accepted, and it's sad, but I wasn't expecting to get accepted. And at this time, I had just got engaged. And after acceptance, they literally, to hold your spot, they want half of that $11,000, 24 hours of acceptance. And I didn't have it. We were preparing for a wedding. So again, that's where the whole financial, not having assistance, because while I was saving to get roommates, I could have been saving for the internship. Didn't know. Right. So I didn't know that it was going to be that difficult and that we couldn't use financial aid. So I set out a year, and it was truly a blessing. They held my admission.
Okay.
So we didn't want to pay for a wedding and pay for an internship at the same time. We ended up doing it anyway. We ended up doing it anyway. But yes, I was given a year. They held my admission, and then I was able to save again to be able to afford my internship. And then the
Love it,
following year,
love
I
it.
got started.
So you started your first business. Tell us the name and how that all began in 2018.
So the first business me and my husband started is called Eats by E Meal Prep. So at this time, I wasn't a dietitian; I was a nutritionist. So
Right.
I was very mindful because there's a lot of things that go into it, as we know. I was very mindful about what I did, advice that I gave, because even though I had 2 degrees, I was not a registered dietitian. So I knew there were several things. I don't really like working for people. And then I wanted to help the community and help others, but still within my scope of practice as a nutritionist. So we started Eats by Email Prep, which was a meal prep service that provided you um, healthy meals. So you would order once a week, we would prep your meals and we would deliver them to you, or you would pick them up. So that's what we did. Yeah, so that's how the first business got started, and that's what we did for about 3 years.
I like it. And then COVID hit and things became a little bit more difficult. So how did you pivot from your business and to stay afloat and then kind of getting back up to where we are now?
So then I did, so after my internship, I did go to work. So I was working for the state and I had the meal prep business on the side.
Yeah.
So then I had went full-time entrepreneur and then COVID hit, literally the same time when I took that leap of faith that, COVID came. So there was limited food in our community because everyone, well, several reasons, everyone was going out grabbing all the food. Then the trucks couldn't get into town. There was a delay in everything. So that's one thing that made it very difficult. I wasn't able to prepare my meals the way that I needed to prepare them with the ingredients that I needed. If I did find the ingredients, they were crazy high, which tapped in and took away from the profit that I was making for the meals. And then secondly, people were getting laid off jobs. With all this going on, their health, their food, losing weight was not a concern.
No.
It kind of went back to how I was brought up. We were back in survival mode. So we're paying for what's going to last, and that can be stretched through our household. So, and similar to how people's diets are going up and down, that's kind of how the flow went with the meals. And so I would say about 3 to 4 months into COVID, there were no orders at all.
Yeah.
No orders at all. So I understood. I did understand. It was unfortunate for us, but I understood. So during that time, I just would post healthy recipes, advice, ways to stay healthy during COVID, meals to prep during COVID. Uh, so after we saw that there was just no return to how the business was, I had to take a pause and decide what I wanted to do. So during that time, I got super, super focused with my exam. So that's another thing. You have to take an exam to become a registered dietitian. And I previously failed my exam twice.
Right.
So I was limited. I was limited on the business end. I was limited in the work field. So I was like, okay, something has to give. And I'm a busy person. I'm always doing something. And I always tell myself, you only have 100%. If you're doing 3 things, everything's getting 30%. So I had to eliminate everything and just hone in, focus on my exam. And I finally passed. I passed my exam January 2021. And at that point, I said, hey, there's no limitations. I can do what I want. I'm a registered dietitian. So at that point, overall, my goal was to help people to learn more about nutrition, how to eat properly, how to live a healthy life, a balanced lifestyle. So I wanted to do that. And so again, food was the only way that I can do it as a nutritionist. But once I became a registered dietitian, I was like, hey, I can counsel, I can
You can do it all.
Yes, I can do it all. So at that point, I was like, okay, so what do I want to do on the business end? So that's when I decided I love cooking, but I love the nutrition, education, counseling more than I do actually cooking. So that's when we revamped the business to all things nutrition, to include everything that involves nutrition. So custom meal plans, nutrition coaching, weight loss management, diabetes management. We can do it all at this point.
Yeah, tell us about your coaching programs. Tell us about all of that, because guys, she kind of glossed over it, but what I heard in there was persistent. She still had to take those exams. So yes, she had all of this knowledge just right there, but she needed to take the exam. She didn't take it, one time, two times, so three times the charm. She passed it, and now boom, she can go full force on both sides of the house. So kudos to you. Like I said, you guys, this is an amazing story. So tell us about your coaching programs, because you are it, girl. Like I said in the beginning, she registered, y'all. She's certified. Don't be talking, don't be Googling these people. Or like, just add a little bit of green. What is a little bit of green? What is that, y'all? But don't do that. So yes, girl, tell me about your coaching program.
So with my nutrition coaching program, I work with clients for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, and if needed, 12 months, but I offer up to 6 months. So the focus of my program is to help people achieve their goals, but also to help them rebuild their relationship with food. Like I stated, a lot of people, especially in the Black community, we associate survival and food, and we neglect all the in between. So with my nutrition coaching programs, if you have a specific disease that you're trying to manage, if you're trying to lose weight, I'm coaching you through the process. A lot of things, especially when it comes to nutrition, is psychological and it's mental. So helping you break down those barriers and figure out why you think about food this way, figure out why you make these decisions. That's where we start. So I don't just jump in and say, don't eat this, this, or that. We start back to how it started. So with that being said, that drove me to create the 3 months, the 6 months, because we spend our lifetime establishing these core habits. So reshaping them doesn't take 1 to 2 visits.
Tell us about the cost, the month to month and everything.
Okay, so I do have, I call it my 1 month, but it's basically month to month.
Yep.
That's $250. Okay. Your 3 month is $750, and then your 6 month is $1,500. So what comes with all of the programs, you meet with me virtually once every 2 weeks. So a lot of times different specialists and doctors, they see you one time and they don't want to hear from you for 3 months. No, you get to see me every other week. And then in between, I have an app that all of my clients have access to where you log your foods. We chat. So in between weeks, if you have anything that you want to talk about, any questions, comments, or concerns, you're able to reach out to me. You can link your physical activity, and then I'm able to see everything on one platform. So if there's any, I didn't lose weight this week, or
right,
I was inflamed this week, or my stomach, any of that, I can see down to the core of vitamins, minerals, fat, protein, water content. I get to see all of that, and that helps me to better coach you. That goes back to your goals, helps me to better coach you based off of what you're doing and the goals that you're wanting to.
Love it, love it. And finally, what is your vision for your business? Don't forget to tell us about your ebook, Balanced Plate. I love it.
Okay. So outside of that, so sometimes I do know that cost can be a factor. So I want to still help any way that I can. So I've created ebooks, little guides that are also available for sale on my website. Currently have a 50% off on all digital products. So this helps you just to get that information without having to participate in the coaching program. Not to steer you away from that, because the coaching program does provide you with motivation, accountability, things that your ebooks can't give you. But that is what's available. So in the future, I would love to hire in other dietitians and nutrition coaches. So I also work with contracts. So I work with clients from other businesses. Like one of my contracts is currently with the gym. So if the personal trainers over there have clients who need nutrition coaching, they send them my way. So ideally, I would like to continue to grow my relationships and contacts and hire in other nutrition coaches, give others who may be struggling with experience, needing to get that experience, make them better candidates for internship, things of that nature, being able to provide them with that. And then also I would love to open my own internship. That way, to also help better serve those who went through the same struggles as I did.
Love it, love it, love it. Well, Ernestine, thank you for sharing your experience and your wealth of knowledge with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. No problem. All right, Gems, it's time for your financial gems. So your financial gems for today are super quick and easy. I love them in and out. Number one, tithe first. So if you do have a religious background, you know how important this is. 10%, it can really just help you grow religiously as well as setting you up with your budgets and your savings. Number two, work hard, play harder. Love that one, love that one, love it. Don't forget to kind of give yourself a pat on the back, and that's when that play harder comes into take. Number three, temporary sacrifices yield long-term results. Always remember that. There was a lot of speed bumps on her journey, but she kept going to get to where she is now. Number four, a setback is a setup for unseen blessings. This is one of my favorite. All of these setbacks, I have plenty of setbacks in my life, but you have to really know that the blessing is still coming. You gotta keep moving. And number five, trust your vision and stick to it. Because she said, I had a job, it was paying good, but in my heart, that wasn't my desire. That wasn't my passion. That's not what I wanted to do. Stay true to your vision and it will come to pass. Love it, love it. All right, it's our show custom to have every guest provide our gems with an inspirational quote. Ernestine, what personal inspiration quote would you like to share with us today?
So the one I have is, it is our attitude at the beginning of a difficult task, which more than anything else will affect its successful outcome.
I love it. Attitude and outcome, keeping that positive attitude to have a positive outcome. Love it, love it, love it. Again, thank you so much for being on our show today and being part of our journey.
Yes, it's my pleasure.
Love it, love it. All right, Gems, creating healthy financial habits is a lifelong commitment. Remember, without change, there'll be no butterflies. Changing habits, changing lives, and changing futures are all up to you. Till next time, Gems, take care.